Ladies and gentlemen, settle and readily waiting on the console wall. The theater audience fills the halls, applauding all the audible song. The 7-piece centerpiece scores of dances, with the floors and the walls are all made of canvas, and the dancers' hands and feet are oil-based to paint the madness. This music tells the tale of the long gone darker ages, but instead of text that reflects the past through brass and harp arrangements. Drones pouring out of the organ horns, and one corrugated accordion mourns a million times over for the composer's torn euphorium. His hands control the sections, and the band remolds attention, and the crowd unfolds the sound to figure out his good intentions. These lyrics ask you to sit, and the music demands patience, but to get ahead of the crowd you give a standing ovation. The silence severing violin melody, quieting every shattering noise, trickling down the fingers and singing the strings and singing instead of the voice. Cellos will echo the bellowing metal, so mellow and gentle to draw the bow. Flickering cymbals and tambourines cover the ground with the sound of snow. Orchestra morbidly conjuring imagery, badly in need of a change of pace. Percussion is called and position is wanted, the mayhem is sonic and face to face. Cymbal crash, cueing in the second half, bringing in the highs, the 5 by 9 trumpets, finishing the time to time to the downfall, following the rides and rides by the drum kit, splitting up the finishing chord from wind hymns, ringing in the horns with the strike of the bass drum, generating energy to sound from the ground up, separating octaves, leaving your face numb. Everyone in here is hearing the pierce of the wind, and it's him that'll mirror the player, and then is the clarinet, what's in the serenade, this proletariat once again. Still, nothing could ever be more confronting than drumming becoming the enemy. Strings, wood, strums of brass, and the gentleman cues the violin last, to define the silence, trumpets blast, and awake the ghost signals from the past. Dead note, thrown to mark the end, finishing piece for the weak, the artist, and the timpani cease at the least to honor, the continuing sheets of the reading start again. Somber medley, breathing number, bleed the neck to get sound effects, yet breathe the frets to let keys invent, and the instrument begins one last set. End, close, hit the lights, and attempts to defend and defy the night, but the insect led to the men inside, and it went to dead for the last of fights. Will hold the past and all the relics, things, and trinkets. See, it's that we call the actual prosthetic links to infancy, and some become attached to that. In fact, indeed it helps. Then others toss it away in hopes that it'll repeat itself. Some focus on the young, counting all the days wasted. They forget what they have left and wish that they could trade places. Pencils etched in pillars served as records of my growth, and when they seem to be complete, I never measured up to hopes. Pictures act as mirrors, showing you yourself is mended. Then time begins to split them both until they're known as separate. What was once a candid pic then begins to be nostalgic. It's just you becoming distant from the child in the album. Portraits serve as a reminder, leaving holes in the wall. First you're too young to remember, then too old to recall. The seconds end unnoticed, and the minutes give the siren, and hours leave regret, so every day he's more defiant. And age was made necessity, so we crawled to his height. 18 just comes so sudden, then you're adult overnight. Did it add to his youth, or lessen the affection? After all the abuse, he was left an adolescent. And time reminds us all, be careful what we demand. It's best to compliment instead. He's been there since he began. You adapt, I adjust, we're complete to disagree. You command, I conduct, we're a team and they compete. Look back on what the week's made, a shoebox full of keepsakes, and each of these remind me of a different day that we played. A part of the past you saved up, cause really it's what you're made of. Me then and now we're strangers, but at least they can relate us. Look back on what the week's made, a shoebox full of keepsakes, and each of these remind me of a different day that we played. A part of the past you saved up, cause really it's what you're made of. Me then and now we're strangers, but at least they can relate us. When in the final stage of reason, look back on the past achievements, and even if when it was harsh, you'll be glad you could have the season. See, no one develops a liking towards life that is closer to dying. You can deny the reaper is right, so when he arrives, he's going into hiding. Entry to heavens according to faith, a thought that'll comfort the Protestants. The rest of us don't lose the kind of the age, we merely develop a tolerance. And it's best to pray and try persuading those determining order, because you'll never be a god, so you should learn to be immortal. It comes in the form of flames, and the heat is a lot to handle. So order the birthday cake, but you better forget the candles. They've added a layer below the dirt and a ring in between the bark, and a closer look at both will show them bringing them up to par. So count on the calendar weeks and remember the months and the year of the nest egg, cause soon you'll be picking the words and terms so you can define the decade. Keep it basic, vague, let them discover the secrets and decide with their own eyes if it's a remedy or a weakness. Well, is it a gift, a disease, or simply a vigilance still in between? And can it be found in the air we breathe, or was it injected in Adam and Eve? The leaders decided to cover up so they were hidden from what is above us, and the citizens did it in unison so they can fit in among the others. When cause is thought of effective, you can rest, your work is efficient. It's easy, free, and addictive, and weaklings need an addiction. Minutes only matter when the time clock's racing, giving all the data, minimize your wasting. Morning, late night, burning daylight, giving limits within life. Back on what the week's made, a shoebox full of keepsakes, and each of these remind me of a different day that we played. A part of the past you saved up, cause really it's what you're made of. Me then and now we're strangers, but at least they can relate us. Look back on what the week's made, a shoebox full of keepsakes, and each of these remind me of a different day that we played. A part of the past you saved up, cause really it's what you're made of. Me then and now we're strangers, but at least they can relate us. first symptom of the sickness is acceptance of infection, in which you've become immune to and confused with adolescence. When the virus hits the eyelids and decides to blind the victim, you're dependent on the senses of the earth and solar system. One breach among the fence can then become the point of contact, and when it's been detected, all defenses join in combat. It comes in threes and seems to find its way into the lighthouse. It's guiding in the pirates till your island's not a hideout. This epidemic spreads because the weaker people carry well, trying to live life like a fairy tale. Quarantine the group and let it move among and shooting through the head and centering between the chest and then consume the two. Exposure is the biggest risk, and if it gets to chain react, the chances are it's after dark and both are hypochondriacs. When surrounded by the sound of siren song and in the lower tides, I'm keen to what's around me, keeping even with the shoreline. He's leaving them for lunch with her, it's 10 till noon, and the friends he used to know are saying get well soon. The plague is made available to everyday Americans. The only way to save yourself from razor blade embarrassment is seeking out a serum found around the outer reaches, and it gives away the tips to play the game and how to beat it. You're either left in the dark or you're blinded by the light, and there's nowhere to park or nowhere to drive. And from linen sheets to kissing cheeks, it's easy to contract the bug, and when in heat the men will be susceptible to what's among them in their new habitat. With arrows, bows, and battle axes, the scarecrows chase intruders from uprooting my new cabbage patch. The day is disagreed and made it hard for us to meet, but then the night embraces secrecy and keeps it just between the three. And under the cover of a star-free night, we make moves in the dark and outsmart light. And baby, nothing you can do would be a fire incentive, cause ain't no loving good enough to get through while I'm a minute. Well, I'm combustible, flammable when given a light. See, nothing comes of my potential if you never ignite me. Yes, I act immune, but haven't you began to see the symptoms? And I can't deny the fact that I have also fallen victim. I'm the sickest stiller version of infected Father Damien, accepted by the peasants but rejected like an alien. So cancel all flight and hold all calls. We're dancing all night and fucking the slow songs. Light-headed and dead in the eyes of someone who wasn't infected. Yes, it's sex that set him alive, but I'd never do that in a deathbed. The benefit is you're inventive, and that's a joy for each inventor. Then again, when it ends in a breakup, your writing is even better. So send for the angels, find all the trumpets, lower the stairs and lock the gates. It's end of the rainbow, time for the sunset, he's over the rail and lost at sea. Let out the ravens, call the vultures, telephone death and chime the bells. Enter the pavement, last of the pulses, let out all breath, it's life in hell. Some mistake addiction, vice and habit for diseases, as often as they're wrong, confusing true love with convenience. Music helps to vent, cause half my time is quite depressing, but I haven't found a cure, it's just relief like a suppressant. But you're all against nothing, simply fronting a placebo. Well, it may be fake and false, but after all it works for me though. So vaccinate the young and leave prevention as an option, cause it's hard to fix a flat, so keep your senses from the pollen.
Godlike, yet a preteen, benefits us adjustable species. Reading timelines of achievement, leaving less digestible weaklings mutate. Advance, adjust, evolution, generate specimen A through fusion. Man-made for the last 8 movement, DNA needs to make some improvement. Gene work for the rebirth of God's lost son. Day dreamers are the keepers of unpaved runways. It's algae to an insect and someday Martian. Angry for the insults and some say Darwin. 15 is a minute of awkward silence and suspense is killing me. Released to the block of populist football fan and he's off the climb. Not long but enough to pass him up, get a good lead and it's off to work. Quite high and it's hard to focus on skyward bound and your life's a week. And their minds confined to a lifetime the length of 6. Lost phantom ships and vessels run the ropes on fellow boats and roaches crash and so this one boat in a ship among the fleet who came loose made a hole and sprung the leak. Slow drift in the mist and took the lead, let them straight for the cliffs along the beach.
Hopes for the youth who choose to navigate the low eyes closed with his goals completely level or below. Tight ropes he's been walking on that make him moving slow. Life goes quickly on his planet, can't be handled so high. Hopes for the youth who choose to navigate the low rise closed with his goals completely level or below. Tight ropes he's been walking on that make him moving slow. Life goes quickly on his planet, can't be handled so low. Godlike, yet a demon, benefits them depending on reason. Reading bad odds out of even, leaving more to form an agreement likewise. Some try to comply to prototype, one side dies when a buys the vote in life. None find an alliance over time that sends up to the mind for both. See your dreams need an accomplice just to comment them on the audits pending. And drive is an option, but compared to luck, he's not as friendly. Midlife is upon us, we accomplished all we promised, didn't we? I'm first to applaud this, but please stop being condescending. It's all in a matter of moments before cyborgs form an alliance, trust me. Just stick to the clones or we'll go the way of the Mayans suddenly. Our youth is amused by this silence, dark and nothing's perfect. And we used to assume that their nightlife spent abusing purpose. All systems
go till they both went off on a tangent. One left right before the awards due to lack of faith, I'd imagine, and the other headed west, hoping he'd achieve an arrangement in which he'd be left for dead on the concrete floors of the base. So related adapt and then benefit, well they say it has, but it never is. And no clearer path to the end of it, but it breaks in half before settlement. 5 senses, 4 limbs, 3 tenses lead to the end. It's 2 heads and 1 goal, that's perfection till we're alone. And these bipeds support an upper torso filled with ribs, guarding organs and flesh with the head and chest between each limb. We're all gonna die sometime, but the shade will block the sunlight. You should have stayed in a cave, but that's the price for walking up high. Hope for the youth who choose to navigate the low road. Eyes closed with his goals completely level or below those tight ropes he's been walking on that make him move in slow. Life goes quickly on his plan and can be handled so high. Hopes for the youth who choose to navigate the low road. Eyes closed with his goals completely level or below those tight ropes he's been walking on that make him move in slow. Life goes quickly on his plan and can be handled solo. Athlete, prodigy, opus, gifted student. He's presented in a package and still it depends on how we use him. Half-breed, oddity, hopeless, twisted mutant. He's perfected every method of infecting an open exit wound. All American activist and the whiz kid, only to be regarded as part of the world he lives in. Fallout, heroin, hazardous bands of misfits. Relinquish the delinquent, deviant medium for the resistance. Makes a move to minor leagues. Before he's just a coach, he'll play a season overseas. I'm here to sever ties on a summertime fling, cause lovers on the side just was never my thing. Prom king quarterback graduates in May, then it's off to the mine shaft the very next day. Shovel hung high so the kids can't reach. Retired from the mine down to South Palm Beach. Blue suit day trader loses all his stock. Jumps into the pool with his pocket full of rocks. Dog followed after him and didn't let him drown. Then the collie got cancer and they had to put him down. Photographs taken back when we were 17. Reminder of the past and the way we used to be. Splitting up the records and the books will take a week. Tell the landlord sorry but we had to break the lease. Calling all cars. Our thief apprehended cause we caught him off guard. Set off the alarm because he's falling off hard. Broke from me but hopefully could not have gone far. He's not at all smart. Rodeo champ. Broke too many bones, now he's a lonely old man. Sits alone at home until he slowly goes mad. He can barely ride his pony and his pony holds back. Now he only ropes calves. It's too close to call, so we're calling it quits. I was all caught up, but got caught in the midst of a shot and a miss. 8 seconds of time pending, I'll risk the course of history for one surprise ending. It's too close to call, so we're calling it quits. I was all caught up, got caught in the midst. Now I'm the man of the hour without a second to spare. And it could go both ways, but it's up in the air. I could pay the toll and make my way on the river Styx and slowly go crazy like the man of La Mancha. Or I could rock the boat and make him wish for a bigger ship. Hijack the ferry, make the captain a hostage. The trolls with toll bridges control the whole river while we wait on the banks for chance to go fishing. You got 8 seconds to teach him a grave lesson. Stick around and write it out, that'll give him the same message. Can't ride the lightning, well how about make-believe? Still too frightening, just bow out gracefully. Pages will be soaked in sweat and candle wax when the gunslinger finally catches the man in black. Bells and whistles, shells and pistols, the details change, each tell of the riddle. Cause when the wall crumbles it hits you like a ton of bricks. Breaking down barriers, midlife is coming quick. Rethink the rubble, it could be a call to arms. Last time I nearly was chastised and bought the farm. Big red button, you're moving the final hour. We're making bad history like Truman and Eisenhower. Flames, swallows, cherry tattoos. Saggy and faded is some very bad news. And the closer you get to the eye of the storm, you find fresh made tracks and the fire is warm. It's too close to call, so we're calling it quits. I was all caught up, but got caught in the midst of a shot and a miss. 8 seconds of time pending, I'll risk the course of history for one surprise ending. It's too close to call, we're calling it quits. I was all caught up, but got caught in the midst. Now I'm the man of the hour without a second to spare. And it could go both ways, but it's up in the air.
An oldie but goodie. The song went something like this.
Trains and ships. Train, I mean like a freight train. Not like a teacher practice something. Ship, I mean like a vessel, not in a sense something through the mail. I was a freight train chaser with a limp and an ulcer. Depression era America, shit the boxcar culture. Wrote tales of the railroad and gave a name to the stars. I'd be a legend of music if I could play the guitar. I'm just a hobo who won't go back to filling the cold trains. My place is on the rails, I finally found me a soulmate. Shared my blanket with the boy who slept in only his wool socks. If he didn't kill me, it'd be the whiskey or bulldog. One foot was in the grave, but the other was nautical. I decided on a trip and took a ship to Antarctica. Manned the oars to ensure the safe passage of others, cause in a storm the wind would break the mast and cabin above us. We caught a cap on the starboard and lost a half of the rations, and we're too far from the harbor to try and fashion a raft. And we made a pact in November that if we're still here in June, we'd eat the rats and the leather, and then the captain and crew. I'm hauling paper to Vegas and pulling rock from the old mill, but Smokey loves a joke and making mountains from molehills. I'd rather lose control and lose the load in a car crash than let him give a ticket to this big rig badass. Dockside dolls, my oasis in Tejas. I'll drive without a break so I can make up the day lost. From Charlotte to Dallas, I'm doing 90 with fog light. If 40 lets me live, I'll probably die in a bar fight. Alright, travel like wandering cattle. You take a nap in Arkansas and you wake up in Seattle. Yep, travel from top of a saddle. It gets lonely on the range, that's only half of the battle. And if you make it to point B with half of that loin beef alive and intact, then grab a beer and come join me. Partner, grab a beer and come join me. Just get a cold one and join me. Volunteered for the army, I'll do a tour and no more. Went to Nam in '69 and caught the eye of the storm. I went home on malaria, then I got me a day job and wrote about the people down in Southeast Asia. I bet the paratrooper units that were stationed in Normandy probably missed a view of Munich, and it's something they're torn between whether enemy attack or a friendly who misfires. You catch an infection or maybe step on a tripwire. I've been around the world twice, it took me 3 years to do it, and this balloon doesn't move much, but it gives quite the view. It's not as easy as it seems, and indeed you'd be surprised. Thank God for the gravity, I'm glad that heat rises. So lose a few sandbags, fuel to the flames, just plug the hole with the hand rag, and get us out of this rainstorm. The rain will probably drown me and the winters are painful, but I've been up in the clouds and seen plenty of rainbows. 16 tree trunks fired and binded, I'd leave the raft and hit the banks today if I were invited. You see, life on the river can be confining at times. I'd ask to bank the boat but keep it close if I were declined. It's just me and a tomcat in need of a hot bath, dodging the cops and the rocks and the wombats. The Mississippi pirates will eventually catch us, or I'll be food for the fish when I go over the rapids. Alright, travel like wandering cattle. You take a nap in Arkansas and you wake up in Seattle. Yep, travel from top of a saddle. It gets lonely on the range, that's only half of the battle. And if you make it to point B with half of that loin beef alive and intact, then grab a beer and come join me. Feet, not feet. And I mean like, you know, distance or space travel. Feet, 12 inches. Not like an accomplishment or anything. A battling veteran, unaware my worst enemy is my own medicine. Took a vow, made a bet, gave my word to a preacher that I would work on the surface before venturing deeper. Cause I'm a pitch hitter, swinging at wide throws, ditch digger until I hit the limestone. Part-timer, I'll give you the pretense. I'm you without a muse and I'm a mime on the weekend. And I wonder when a band becomes an artist, when he does, is he evolve into himself or is he part of that fad? Say he joins a group and loses every bit of character. Does he like his own music? You see, artists aren't bands. I'd rather be a stunt double, instead I'm a stand-in. Even an extra gets featured in a fiction. Who's to say I'm in it with the better of intentions? I'll start the fine line between leisure and addiction. Basics, new inventors stay in tune with ways that are ageless, keeping in tradition of the days when changes happened only naturally and painless. Now we fake shit to make it, and I'm nobody's protege or a mentor to opus, with no alliance or nemesis and no driver or focus. But still I wonder if anyone will remember the ground rules. Doubtful, I'm praying and they're saying a mouthful. Not too intelligent, but extremely resourceful, and I can block a lot of static like a sorcerer's forceful. I'm quick, but uninformed, witty, but indecisive. I'm a man with no conviction, twice as many of vices. And sometimes reality isn't as interesting as the fantasy that seems to be directly infecting. And I'm protected from infection by the world that produced, yet not, and nothing could be further from true. I'm not too intelligent, but extremely resourceful. I can block a lot of static like a sorcerer's force field. I'm quick but uninformed and witty but indecisive. A man
world are produced, yet not, and nothing could be further from true.
The arm and leg, arm, and the head is only half a man at most. What cipher? Your degrees are more to 7, dime nickel, to $1. Man, you need more capital. Drop science. Good idea because your mouth is all fucked. And I'm a model. Slash act, slash wait, slash cohort. Written, recorded, and still nothing to show for it. I used to trade tapes and rely on the classics, absorb them, but now I'm just force-fed the horse shit. Window 20 to 28, better start early. Do a few songs and you're 30. Midlife writer, started in high school late. By 17 you should've done a bootleg. Poser, must've missed the bum rush. Never could street skate, so I tried rhyming over beat tape. Chances, pictures, and quite a lot of video. Lived a bit, now I'm just a documented idiot. And my phobias in order of importance are to sell out, then to fall off, get the vapors, miss a payment, and to sleep. But then again, I don't have shit to sell, not high enough to fall. I don't know anyone famous, and I buy records every week. And these vitamins aid in the fight against the man-child. Leviathan made from writing in other hand styles. Too much idle time can bring down vital signs. Soon as I write a line or two, I know the light'll shine. Intelligent, extremely resourceful, I can rock a lot of static like a socialist, forceful, not quick but uninformed, witty but indecisive, a man with no convictions and twice as many of vices. Sometimes reality isn't as interesting as the fantasies it seems to be directly infecting. I'm protected from infection by the world that produced, yet not, and nothing could be further from truth. Hot day downtown and a shot in the brain left. A puddle of bee-pods bubbling on the pavement. A laser targeting the heart and bullseye. Infrared lens up the body by the poolside. Marx and Lenin are shooting fish in a pond. It's not the right as it guessing though, it's Richard and John. And when the bullshit's full with blood, it's too late. He makes a final attempt and rushes the red cave. Well, bless my soul, it's the start of a new day. Mary, mother and God, a cardinal killed a blue jay. When they needed the Red Sea split, they sent Moses. I replaced Carrie's bucket of blood with red roses. Black ants, brown dirt is fine by some, but it's all one color where I come from. And the desk clerk's best what went to cosmetics. He'd rush on the blush, but he still was not selling. So he soon short fused when he just couldn't sell. He'd buy a new horseshoe and throw a penny in the well. So make 2 wishes and pray the shoes fit. If it ever comes true, just say that you did it. Well, this is the motive and mission I'm hell-bent towards, making sure I look at the picture from till and more. I'll try to see and read in between, but till then I'll spend my time trying so time will be well spent. This is the motive and mission I'm hell-bent towards, making sure I look at the picture from till and more. I'll try to see and read in between, but till then I'll spend my time trying so time will be well spent. Think Earth is a planet where the living is hard, man? You ought to take a van on a mission to Mars. And the Martian brides rock a lot of the lipstick. I'm ducking from the fan at the second the shit hits. Cause if the men from the planet of the god of war may see you with the girl getting into the foreplay, trust me, the last guy was ordered to drink up a can of hot magma set in a tin cup. And once you recover from the acid rainbow, you think about Earth and wish you stayed home. So scratch that rash, get out in the sun more, and smoke a lot of pot till your eyes are done for. Cocaine, road rage, ran the light and hit the snowbank. And the driver behind me hit the big propane tank. Now my Jeep can bump down in fiery hell, cause the amps keep up till the wiring melts. And the ladybug lands in your glass full of Kool-Aid. Buddies on your neck getting deep in the toupee. So make 2 wishes and pray the shoes fit. And if it ever comes true, just say that you did it. Well, this is the motive and mission I'm hell-bent towards, making sure I look at the picture from till and more. I'll try to see and read in between, but till then I'll spend my time trying so time will be well spent. This is the motive and mission I'm hell-bent towards, making sure I look at the picture from till and more. Try to see and read in between, but till then I'll spend my time trying so time will be well spent.